Domain authentication inside Omnisend. How to set it up. So if you don't authenticate your domain, if you don't authenticate your email address, you cannot use that email address for sending newsletters. So for example, as you can see over here, I'm now in the newsletter screen. So when I want to send a newsletter, this is the dashboard. So over here you have the sender's email address, and as you can see, I can only select the shared Omnisend email address. I cannot select my regular email address. It is grayed out, or in other words, not possible. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the right hand side over here, and you're going to click on store settings, and then over here we have the sender domains. So we're going to click on sender domains, and then we're going to click this button over here, add a sender domain. So over here we have to enter our domain name. So in my case it's creatorrag.com, and I'm going to click on continue. So now we're over at the domain authentication. So below you'll find the generated SPF, DKIM and DMARC records, and we need to add them to our DNS records of our website or domain name. So now we have to log in into our DNS records, and to do so we have to log in into our web hosting of our domain. So if you don't know where your domain is hosted, you can use a tool like this, dnschecker.org. So I'm going to enter my domain name in this field, and I'm going to click on lookup DNS. And now as you can see, if I want to change my DNS records, I have to log in to Cloudflare. So Cloudflare is where I host my website. So once you're logged in into Cloudflare, for example, so in my case it's Cloudflare, I'm going to click on my website over here, and then I'm going to click on the DNS tab over here, and then we can scroll, and then we can see all the DNS records I have inside my DNS records tab, and I can change the settings. So over here, if we go back to Omnisend, here you can see we have a couple of settings, a couple of things we have to add to our DNS records. If you're unsure where to find your DNS records within your web hosting, I suggest you use Google and then just enter the web host you're using. So let's say, for example, you're using Hostinger. So then you're going to fill in Hostinger, and you're going to say DNS records. And then probably the first result will be something like this: how to manage DNS records at Hostinger. Or if you're at a different hosting, Bluehost, for example, it'll probably show the same thing. And here it probably explains how to get to that DNS tab. So we're just going to go through these records step by step. So we're going to start with the first one, so the SPF record. And here it says we have to create a text record for the SPF record. So that is what we're going to do. And then also we will copy this value over here. So I'm going to click on this button over here to copy the value. We're going to go back to our DNS tab, and we're going to click on add a new record. I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and here you can see the type. So it should be the text record, right? That is exactly what it says over here. So we have to add a text record. So I'm going to click on type, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and here we can see the text record. I'm going to click on it. And then as you can see, we have two values over here. So we have the name, which is required, and we have the content, which is required. So the content is for the value over here. So we already copied that. So I'm going to paste that in here. So that is the content, and then we have the name. So what should you add in the name value over here? So you have to keep in mind, so if you receive an email, so if you send an email to one of your subscribers, they receive it like this. So this is a Gmail screenshot from a Gmail email client, and as you can see over here, so this is the part of that value. So the info is this value. So if you enter here info like this, so your subscribers will see this value. So you have to keep in mind what value you put over here, because whatever it is you put in there, it will be visible to your subscribers. So it could be info, for example. So then over here I have an option to add a comment to this DNS record. So not every host offers the option to add a comment. So if there is no option for you to add a comment to your DNS records, it is not a big deal. But if there is an option to add a comment, you can add something like this. So for example, Omnisend SPF record info@creatorrag.com. So now I know exactly what DNS record this is if I go back to this DNS record somewhere in the future. So I'm going to click on save, and now we've added the first DNS record. So we're going to go back to Omnisend, and over here now we have the DKIM records we have to add to our DNS records. So here it says again, so we have to add a text record. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to our DNS records tab. We're going to click on add a new record, and then over here we're going to scroll down, and we're going to find the text record again. Then we're going to go back to Omnisend, and now we have a name option field over here. I'm going to copy it, I'm going to go back to our DNS records, and then we're going to enter the name over here, so the value in the name. And then we have the content, so we're going to go back to Omnisend, and over here we have the value, and that is what we're going to add. We're going to paste in the content field over here. So then we have an option to add a comment again, and I'm going to add this comment. So Omnisend DKIM info@creatorrec.com. I'm going to click on save. So we've now added the DKIM records as well. We're going to go back to Omnisend, and we're going to go and add the DMARC tab as well. So here again, it says we have to add a text record. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to copy this first name already. So I'm going to click on copy. I'm going to go back to our DNS records tab. I'm going to click on add a record. I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to select text. For the name, it's going to be this value we just copied. We're going to go back to Omnisend. I'm going to copy this value over here. So this value, I'm going to go back to our DNS records tab, and I'm going to paste in the value we just copied, and I'm going to paste it in the content field. And then we're going to add this comment over here. So DMARC Omnisend info@creatorrec.com, and I'm going to click on save. So as you can see, the DMARC record we just added, there's a little sign over here that says the record content has to contain a valid policy tag. So as you can see over here, these are the policy tags. And if we open this record again, what you have to do to remove this sign is to add this at the end. So if we go back to Omnisend, this is the value it suggested us to use, but apparently we have to add this as well at the end. So I'm going to click on save, and as you can see, now the sign will be gone. So I'm going to go back to Omnisend, and I'm going to click on verify records to see if everything is already good to go. So as you can see, it all works. So please keep in mind that it may take up to 24 hours for new DNS settings to become active, but most of the time this works immediately. So if it's not working, there might be something else going on. So now we can click on the back button over here. We can close our DNS tab, and as you can see, if we're at store settings right now, sender domains, you can see our sender domain is now verified SPF, verified DKIM, and verified DMARC. So the next thing we have to do is click on these three dots over here to verify our domain. I'm going to click on verify. I'm going to click on verify records. I'm going to go back. So I'm not sure why we have to verify again, but apparently we had to, because now we can select our domain name over here, also with automations. So we can select our domain. That wasn't, for some reason, it wasn't possible before, although we already verified our domain. So that's all you have to do to authenticate your domain inside Omnisend.